Hello, welcome back to Talk Seagulls, and we're here at the Caxton Arms after, well, another 2 great defeats. But we're still going to have a decent podcast because I've got a very special guest today, as you can see. It is still Brett, and it is still me. I don't think I could do this for much longer, but if you can even hear me through the audio, Brett, how are you?
Oh, good.
Right, let's take these off now. Right, I don't know what that was all about, to be honest. But yeah, we are back here, and it's good to be back, Brett, despite the funny intro.
Yeah, absolutely. I said we've got to have a bit of a laugh after the last 2 games, haven't we? So
yeah. It's literally it's become a highlight of that whole game, isn't it? Really,
yeah.
he was literally probably the most viral thing to come out of that Liverpool game. Was apparently the guy that wore this. It's funny because as Brighton fans, I actually remember that. I feel like it was not lockdown. It was the European campaign. I feel like I first saw these a lot.
Yeah.
But it's the fact it's now gone viral. Yeah. It's hilarious.
Just stood there with his son for like a game. It's probably had the best view because he couldn't see anything. So.
Yeah, I know. It's the fact he didn't take it off. Yeah. That's the mad thing. I mean, that's enough for me putting it on for a little bit, but it is quite funny. You really can't see a lot in that. But who was it that gave you it again?
It's Tiffany and Ryan. They're from the Hong Kong Seagulls. They wear it, or Ryan wears it to most games, but he didn't wear it to the Liverpool game, but he was at the game. But somebody else was wearing the same one, and he took all the credit.
No, it's good. It's good. I mean, yeah, it's good to be back, I guess. Yeah. I mean, since we last spoke, there's been 2 games, which was quite surprising, which is weird because, yeah, I was looking back at the last couple of games, and obviously the Villa game was maybe a tiny bit better on what we had seen the week prior, but then I think the Liverpool one kind of undid a lot of things there. But how are you feeling sort of on the back of it? Because obviously the last episode was so sort of talking about how it should be the end of the manager. But we've got another 2 more losses on the board since then.
Yeah, and we haven't scored again either of them. So, and do we really look like scoring? I'm not sure. Like Gomez had a chance at Liverpool, Hinchelwood as well, and at Villa we didn't create too much. So, although Villa was encouraging, we showed a bit of fight. Again, we didn't lay a finger on them, and it's just another defeat where we were organised and one lack of concentration at the end. We've lost another game. So
it's become quite a theme, isn't it? This lack of concentration thing, because they say it didn't start as badly perhaps as it could have been. I think I say though it's almost like that. The chance creation's just kind of dried up a little bit, isn't it?
Yeah. That's sort of like if you don't create chances, you can't score, and if you can't score, you can't win. It's a simple game, and we're just not doing either. So I said, what's that? 3 games on the bounce, we haven't scored. I think, well, definitely the last 2. So we've gone out the cup, which was our last glimmer of hope, and I think we're in a relegation scrap now.
Well, to be fair, I'm thinking about the biggest chance of that game still, and I think it was the Gomez one, I want to say. And even still, that Gomez chance came because somebody slipped as opposed to a moment of absolute brilliance in front. Yeah. He was in the right position, don't get me wrong. I think he actually had an all right game. Yeah. But it came because of a slip, and then you kind of, you got to bet on him to score there. Yeah. I guess you could say good goalkeeping, but ultimately I wouldn't say that you come away from that game thinking, there's an absolute mass amount of chances created, despite apparently having quite a lot of shots.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like, that's the only way people are defending HURZELER are stats at the moment, and I think we had more shots than Liverpool, but I think we had 17, they had 16, but we only had 2 on target. But it doesn't show that most of our chances came when we were already 3-0 down and out of the game. So it's just weird how you can use stats, but if you watch it with your eyes, I think it was never a contest. Their second goal was unbelievable move, and Szoboszlai is looking like an unreal player, one of the best in the world at the moment. So Liverpool are a better team than us, and they beat us easily, so I wasn't really expecting anything out of it. So I don't know.
It's that acceptance that they're just better than us, and we're going to lose games now. I think that's kind of the harsh reality of where we're at the moment. It's just you've got to accept you're going to lose a lot of games. I think the end of this season is going to be really difficult. And the reason why I brought up chance creation is to say that the stats do look, I will address the stats, because the stats, you talk about XG and whatever, and XG would obviously show that there'd probably be a fair amount of chances created. I think the thing is with XG is it shows where shots were taken. It doesn't necessarily showcase anything else. So, for example, if there was a shot like the Gomez chance, it'd probably be given a slightly higher expected goals than, for example, half of Szoboszlai's goal catalogue, because he scores ridiculous worldies half the time. But still, that shot, they would put it on this sort of average player to take that shot. So it is heavily flawed in that respect, but ultimately, I think that's one thing that we relied heavily upon when we had Potter, and not so much De Zerbi. I think De Zerbi's was more, we took a lot more chances with what we had. I think we became more clinical, whereas we've not even gone back to that. My biggest worry is more the fact that the chances aren't quite as free-flowing as they once were. And, we'd probably say, for example, Pascal Gross, for example, Mitoma, for example, Minte, should be capable of creating more chances. Even Jorginho by that respect. But you could probably blame a little bit on the squad balance, do you think? But ultimately, there is a big downfall, I think, in the players individually.
Yeah, and I think we've been like Mitoma's just not been fit this season, and that's showing. Minte just, I don't know what's happened to him. His form's just completely dipped, and I guess he's been injured as well. Gross, he still needs time to adjust from Bundesliga to the Premier League, and Ruter just, I love him, but he's just not at it at all.
It's not a good season, is he?
He just keeps trying to run through players instead of around them, and he takes 2 touches too many when he should pass it. He doesn't, and things like that. So it's not all on the manager, but the way we set up, we are quite attritional and boring to watch, and I think we're trying to stay in games more than trying to attack games and win them. So,
well, that's the thing. The reason for this sort of episode is I'm looking at a lot of people would say, "Oh, you can't just blame the manager because the manager's not the biggest issue." So I'm looking at other issues. So I'm looking across as to what people would typically say, and I think the biggest thing to come out of it is the players aren't good enough. And someone said that we don't have the individual quality, and I thought, okay, so I'm going back across these players that we signed, and I'm thinking, do we have the individual quality? Hypothesis. Let's look through the players you've signed. I mean, I think Gruder has just gone on loan to Leipzig. I think we all agreed that it should never have happened. Well, he got a goal and assist yesterday. Leipzig are a team that have been in the Champions League pretty regularly in recent times. So that's an interesting one. I think as well, Jorginho, I think we saw it last season, particularly when he was a bit more unlocked. I gave a lot of credit to I think it was Villa's game the other day when I saw Tammy Abraham doing sort of that hard yards. And that's, I think, what we alluded to last time was the Joao Pedro running in front of him. Opens up a lot of space for someone like Georgie. I don't think he's really got anywhere near that support now.
No, I agree. Well, going back to Gruder, it's just like he's played in the top flight. He's played in the Premier League with us. He's scored in the top flight. And we've just let him go. And then we've replaced him with Harry Howe, he probably will be good, but he's a 17-year-old who's played like barely any minutes. There's a couple of times he looked at Villa, it looked like it was man versus boy, and he's just getting pushed off the ball. But again, he put in a couple of decent crosses when he came on, and you can't expect that much of him. Like, our pathway for players just seems to have gone all out the window. For normally buying a young player, you sort of integrate them in the squad, or then you loan them out, they get better and they come back, then they go in the first team. But we're just loaning them out, they come back and they're going again. Like Buonanotte and Ciso. Like,
has Buonanotte even played for Leeds?
I don't like did he not even make the matchday squad?
I don't think he did yesterday. Or at least I didn't see him on the pitch when I watched a bit of the game.
So just like the pathway for players, there just doesn't seem to be one now, and it's just we're just bringing back O'Reilly, and then he doesn't even get in the squad.
That's baffling. That was
Igor.
That was
he's
absolutely
just
baffling. O'Reilly gets recalled, and he's left out the squad for purely tactical reasoning. I thought, what? It's so unusual. I mean, whose decision it was to bring him back in the first place, let alone then bring him back and not even use him. I just find that mind-boggling. I really, really struggle with that one. And this is the thing, I'm looking across the squad, and like we talk about Gruder, who I genuinely believe has been used at a position for a large portion of his time here. He's clearly not a right winger, in my opinion. I think he's so much better in the middle. And maybe we've stockpiled a few in the middle, and that's a club problem. But then I'm looking across the others. Danny Welbeck, for example, has had a good season. He's probably surpassed expectations, you'd say. Mitoma has definitely underperformed. Minte's 100% underperformed. Weef has been used at right back for the most of his time here, and he's meant to be a holding midfielder. So there's a lot of these players that I just feel like they're not being utilised correctly, and until I kind of see them utilised correctly, I feel wrong to make a serious judgment on them.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think I've said it before in other podcasts. Like Carrick's come into Man United, he's put players in their right positions, and the transformation in them, and the belief in them, is just mind blowing. Like what a different, better team they are. So I think the same for us. If like was it Villa we played, the defence looked solid, and we had Veltman at right back, Ferdy at left back, Duncan Van Heck, which is what I think should be the starting back four, where you've got a right back at right back, two central defenders in centre defence, and a left back at left back, and suddenly the balance in the team and the shape of the team looks 100% better.
And that's, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong. That's a coaching issue, is it not?
Yeah, well, maybe not coaching, but definitely a manager issue. Where if we can't pick the strongest players in their strongest positions, then yeah, that's definitely down to the manager. Well, I get it if there's injuries and you need someone to fill in and do a job, but when everyone's fit and we're still not doing it, it's definitely on the manager.
I'm using the coaching phrase because he's technically a head coach because we haven't got managers anymore, so I have to call him the head coach. But yeah, I think that's the only logical explanation. I say I'm looking through it and I'm like, these two games are very similar. I think Liverpool's was a bit more brutal because obviously they're a much better side. I think on another day that's 4-0. In all honesty, I think the Rio Ingamoa goal was almost definitely onside from the angles that I've seen since the game. And I think they had another one disallowed, didn't they? If I'm right, or something like that. Anyway, get the point. A lot of
first half.
They're very clinical with their chances. But ultimately, we've given them chances. And I think even the goals they scored. Like you could probably say the third goal was a lot of individual brilliance. I think the ball from Salah was fantastic. I think the initial ball from I want to say
I can't remember.
Someone at the back, and then the finish from Szoboszlai was fantastic. And you rightly say about Szoboszlai, I think he's been one of the best midfielders in the league this season.
Yeah, absolutely. And then I think the third goal was a bit of a joke. I think HURZELER said it decided the game. It was already 3-0 down. But Salah was allowed to just push Ferdy in the face. And then Gross, I don't know how much he touched Salah to go down, but it's probably enough to give a penalty and not overturn it. But he couldn't, because there's no VAR in Cup, was there? So, but yeah, just... We were never really in the game. I said like they took their chances, we didn't. When I think we were 1-0 down or 2, and we could have got ourselves back in, and we didn't. And that ultimately is the difference. When we actually do create chances, we're not scoring them, and that's where that is like 2 games in a
Well, another person blamed Pascal, saying he's not been good since he's come back, and I thought that was a talking point in itself. But I think it kind of just alludes back to the point I've just said again. I think there's just a direct correlation between all these players that come back. And I'll throw this back at you. If you remember, during lockdown 2020 period, when Pascal Gross was terrible for us, I think he was being played holding midfield / right back. And the thing is with those two positions is pace will almost always get you. Because, you've got some of the fastest wingers in the league are going to be on the wing. And some of the most technical players in the league are going to be through the middle, especially if you're a holding midfielder. And Pascal Gross was basically the centrepiece of that. As we know, Pascal is not a holding midfielder, nor is he really a right back. He can cover them, but he shouldn't be doing it really. And I feel like I remember him just, if you think of Pascal, you think of chances created, don't you? And I feel like we've almost gone back to, I mean, he's been playing number 10, don't get me wrong, but I just don't think that we're utilising these players properly still. And it just links so much to the Potter days when we used to just say, "Oh, Pascal's finished," and then he'd come back and he was one of our best players in Europe.
Yeah, I think he said in that podcast that Potter wanted to get rid of him. And then which is unthinkable now. Like the comeback he's had since then. So again, like now what is his strongest position with us? I think probably is a 10 or just I don't know, just an absolute free role wherever he wants to go. Because at one point. He was playing centre back in the last game. It was who we were playing at home, and
he was.
And so like he's kind of our quarterback type, but and he's not being utilised, and we don't get the ball to him. We're not going to create any chances. So
well, yeah, that's it, and that's where I'm trying to get to the root of the issue. We talk about all these different things, and I'm not saying it is only the manager, because I do also agree that the club are responsible for the transition periods that we've had to put ourselves through. I think a big problem has been selling too much to Chelsea, to which obviously I don't think some journalists agree with. But I mean, there's only so much you can let go of, as we've said before, and I think that turnover cost us massively. And I got a message from someone that knows Southampton quite well, and they said it is very similar to the Southampton situation. And we were so complacent, I guess, and very naive to suggest that it would never happen to us. It's the Southampton problem. I mean, you look at Leicester right now as another example, who are obviously on a different extreme, but they're 22nd in the Championship right now. They are in the relegation zone. They won the FA Cup 4 years ago, and they're in the Champions League. They won the league 10 years ago to this year. Things can happen really quickly in football, and I feel like you can't be too complacent, otherwise you can seriously go downhill.
Yeah, I agree. Like, even like flipping it the other way around, where our rise in that 10 years has been ridiculous. So to get complacent, which as you said, we never thought we would be, it kind of has happened. And we are, like I said, you can't always go up on an upward trajectory. And at the moment, we're obviously performing nowhere near that. So you're seeing us, like, I was just looking at the fixture list. We've got Brentford away next, which difficult. If we get anything, I'll be surprised. And then a Forest at home, which is huge. If we lose that, then we're properly in a relegation battle. And after that is Arsenal away and Arsenal at home and Sunderland away and Liverpool at home. So there's probably another 3 games where we're not going to get anything.
And the big thing about those teams below us, especially Forest and obviously Tottenham as well, they've both changed managers in these last couple of weeks. And obviously, I think there's an interim at Tottenham, but Vitor Pereira got appointed for Forest yesterday. So we're yet to see any sort of bounce back from them yet. But obviously, things in football work in funny ways where manager bounces happen so regularly. West Ham are in really good form, as are Leeds, to be fair. They scraped through the FA Cup yesterday. This is the thing, and it's similar to what we were just saying earlier, but we're loaning these players to teams that could potentially be keeping them up. You know, the Buonanotte at Leeds is a potential rival now for us. It's so weird, but I mean, these teams below us are genuinely in good form, or if not, they could potentially turn it around with a bit of change. Yeah,
so, well, if they're not in great form, but they're in better form than we are, so which is the worry. So I said that out of the next 5 or 6 games, if we need to get at least 1 or 2 wins, like 4 or 5 points, which I don't see happening. And then it's really squeaky bum time. And I don't want to say we're in a relegation battle, but I think we might well be. And if we don't think like that, then we will get complacent and we will get dragged into it. And getting relegated is unthinkable and disastrous for the club, I should imagine.
100%. I mean, they could probably try and cover that up. I think you'd be doing a lot of PR overtime to try and write a good article about that one. But yes, it would be very bad. I can't imagine that would slide at all. I think you'd see a lot of changes. I think, if I'm honest, I get the feeling they've wrote off the season because I think otherwise they would have made signings in January and they didn't. And I think that's quite a big decision to not do that. You know, I'd imagine as well with players like Van Hecker, for example, if there was a manager turnover, because at least, I don't know, but there's always rumours that Van Hecker's never really got on with HURZELER and there's all sorts of stuff that's gone around. These are just social media rumours. I have no idea. And you're like, well, if these rumours are true, if a manager change does happen, surely it just gives a bit more life to these players. Even if that fallout does not exist, you'd like to think that, why hasn't he renewed his contract with us? And 2, if you're going to keep getting the best out of these players, surely you'd rather do it now than potentially get way worse. I just, we're now out of the cup. We're kind of done, really. I don't really get the point in not trying. That, for me, anyway, it just drives me mad. I couldn't deal with not trying on something. I think it's the absolute most pathetic thing ever, is to not try.
Well, that's what I think, like the Palace game, the lack of trying just seemed to upset everyone, and that's when it got really toxic. And I said, like, freshening things up, I think it is a good time. We haven't got a game for 7 days, so now is kind of a good time to do it. But obviously it's not going to happen. But yeah, you don't want to see all the other teams change their manager, get that bounce, and suddenly we're just still going down and down and down. Like, I think we're 14th now, aren't we? So yeah, by our next, I think, Burnley game, we could well be 17th. And I don't know, just... I never ever thought we'd ever be in this position, but here we are.
It's weird. I mean, don't get me wrong. I think this squad is still capable of pulling out wins. I think, and that's why I do go off the players, because I think, like, we've seen it so many times before. But Minte, Mitoma, Welbeck, Georgie, they can all carry games when they want to and when they're right on it. But even if they were to do that in these next few games, to me, it's just thinking, I don't know how you can possibly not see it anymore. Like, I don't understand how you can't see that these players are literally just the only ones fighting at this point. If they do manage to pull anything out of the bag, I will push on to Brentford a little bit before I do the voice messages, which people sent in voice messages and various different other messages. Bloom will be in the away end.
Will he?
It depends which battle he wants, really. Does he want to go speak to a former business partner that he fell out with, apparently very badly? Or does he want to be on the reaction of some Brighton fans, which, if we do lose that game, could be pretty nasty?
Yeah, well, I think like during the game, like as we've shown in the other games, like the fans will be behind the team to start with, and with Bloom there, I think he'll get all the good chance, but then it won't be like right to the very end of the match if we're losing and not putting up a fight, that it will get toxic. But he'll just have to sit there and take it, and it's his decision ultimately. And most people think he's wrong in keeping Fabian, but I guess he still thinks there's a chance. Like, I still think Fabian could be a good coach, but not for another 5-6 years. So he's just too young, and he hasn't got that wealth of experience to draw on in these horrible situations that we find ourselves in. So, like, I think, well, Hearts are at home that day, so if he goes to that game, then
maybe
we know where his ambitions lie for the season. So
know where his heart is.
But no, he'll be in the away end, and I think the fans won't give him too much of a hard time until like the last 5 minutes.
I remember it last season at Brentford, and I feel like someone did have a go at him, and I thought,
I know exactly who that was.
Do you? And it was quite mad because I remember everyone denying it, being like, "That didn't happen." I was thinking, I pretty watched it, like it did happen. He was sat, I think, 3 rows behind me, and obviously it wasn't a good game. That game either. Like, I think Brentford do tend to get the better of us.
Told him Cesc Fabregas should be the next manager.
Yeah,
that's what happened.
I wouldn't say no, but saying that, like, I guess that's the kind of issue with. Especially like do you see the person that emailed Barber, which I think is ridiculous, but if you email Barber, how embarrassing. Like, what do you think he's going to say? But like when he comes back to you, you're kind of thinking like, it's very weirdly written. Like, I just think it's kind of like, we're right, you're wrong, but thanks for your opinion, not that we really care. Do you know what I mean? Like, it just kind of reads like that. And I guess when you kind of do the we're right, you're wrong thing, it naturally does make people a bit like, are you going to listen or not?
Yeah. So you're entitled to your opinion, but you're wrong. But the only thing I would say about Barber there is he replied at 12 minutes past 1 in the morning.
I would not have even replied myself. It was in my DMs.
Like, he could have just ignored it, but it's like gone 1 in the morning and he's still replying. So fair play to that. But yeah, as I said, you're entitled to your opinion, but you're wrong is kind of what that email said.
That's how it felt. Okay, we'll do some of these messages from people. Got loads, to be honest. So thank you all. I'm not going to get through all of them. We'll just go to the top. We've been sent a message from Lenny. So he's not the best at English, he said. He's French. But he sent me a video. Okay. So if you want to watch the video.
Yeah. Hi guys, I'm a new fan from 5 years ago, and I'm from Switzerland. I'm completely in love with this club, and the situation of the club saddens me. I don't really know what's going on with the club, but what I notice is a lack of confidence and of understanding. A lot of players can't fit each other's, and it needs to be resolved. And the winter transfer window was really bad, and I don't understand why we sold Gruda and Watson on loan. We are a club who formed young talent, and we sell that talent actually. I don't really understand, but I naturally still convinced that we're going to make a great finish and we find a confidence again. But staff, players and coach needs to be work on it. Albion.
Nice. Thank you, Danny, for that. He's a new fan from France. I love it.
Yeah, I'd love to know how he became a fan of Brighton.
Yeah. I'll tell you what, I was pleasantly surprised by how many people have messaged me all over the world from this. It's been great. But First and foremost, yeah. How is he a Brighton fan? That's
I love
great.
it. Yeah, that's a good story.
It is cool. Secondly, your English was fine, mate. Completely fine. And he was kind of right in what he was saying, wasn't he?
Yeah,
Why did we loan out Gruder?
Yeah,
Why did we loan
I've said
out?
a lot of what he said in previous podcasts. So, yeah, just said like the pathway for players again, like Gruder. He's been integrated, and then just shipped out when he has performed on some occasions at the first team. It was sold or spun as he wanted more game time, and we couldn't give him more game time.
Yeah.
Even though the 4 or 5 games before that, he's played in nearly all of it. So, yeah, and then we've just replaced him with a 17-year-old kid that's never played in the Premier League, and I've put a lot of pressure on. I do love that Harry Howe's a Sussex lad and a Brighton fan, and we give chances to kids like that. But at the time where we're in a bit of a battle, that's not the time to blood youngsters.
Yeah.
When we've got some that have already been blooded.
Yeah, I agree. We've got one here from Archie Middleton, who sent me this at half midnight. So fair play. He's also messaged me previously, so I do apologise. But he says that he's from Australia. So again, it's come all the way from the other side of the world. He said, you asked me to send through a DM on the channel, so here it is. I wake up at 2 a.m. every Saturday to watch silly possession-based football when we do nothing with it. We pass the ball around the back, but can't progress it forward. I feel like we have no energy and we've lost our boldness. Okay. The spark and passion to create and even be the only ones to be present against the big six opposition, who we do tend to pick up a result against. But then again, you have to you have to see it from the other perspective, as the board are extremely unlikely to sack the manager. It's not in the club's DNA, and I just don't see it happening. So what's the solution? Obviously, we need to be more aggressive, and we have more will to win, but I think fans need to also get behind the team. All this bad press is only worsening team morale, hence confidence, and it's likely to be contributing to the poor run of form. We'd love to contribute again to your show. Love the work. Thank you, first and foremost, for that. I mean, I'll let you take it away.
So the big thing for me from that is the passion. Like, just if the fans could see passion and fight from the players, the atmosphere would be a lot better. If we're enjoyable to watch and entertaining to watch, the atmosphere would be a lot better. Like, the performances have been so bad and not getting results, so that's why everyone's hating life watching the Albion now. Like, under Potter, at least we were entertaining. We could see that we were creating chances, but just not finishing them. And there was kind of a vision in how we play and patterns of play, and we loved to watch it, even though we weren't always the best. And you forgive the manager for losing games when you're performing or you're entertaining, but like this is just, it's boring to watch, and there's no results coming out of
That's
it.
the thing. You kind of get up for what you're watching, don't you? I suppose. And I think, as you said rightly, I think in the Crystal Palace game, I was trying to think which game it was, and that first 5 minutes was actually really good. The atmosphere wise. And again, we've sold out trips to Liverpool and trips to Villa, I believe. And, you know, I saw even a Liverpool fan said, you guys are the only ones singing. So I think the fans, as much as it gets bad press and stuff, like, people are frustrated, and I personally say I never would boo personally, but I think overall the fans have always been there. It's very easy to blame us, I think, when things are going wrong. But I think ultimately we sell out home and away. We've got the most distance to travel out of pretty much everybody in the league. Newcastle fans might have something to say, but it's more northern teams than there is southern teams. And it is a very difficult and expensive thing to be doing at the best of times. And I think we have got behind them to an extent. I think now it's just got to a point where we know we could do better, I suppose.
I said, like, always, like, in even the Villa and the Liverpool games, the fans for the first 10 minutes have been great. And right at the end of the Liverpool game, the fans were like, all you could hear on the TV was the Albion chants. So, like, the fans are there and they are supporting, but when there isn't much to get excited about, that's when your patience is tested. So, and then, like, just to go for another 2 games without scoring again, like, the fans haven't been that bad. Like, I don't think there were any boos or HURZELER out, sacked in the morning chants after both of the games. So it was just the frustration of it being that Palace game where we showed absolutely nothing, that everything boiled over.
I think that's it, isn't it? It's the lack of, as we said earlier, it's that lack of trying, and especially when it's Palace, you don't want that to happen. We've got one from Cole here. He said, "Hi Ryan, loved the last episode. Unfortunately with Fabian, it's got to a point where he should be sacked 100%, but he looks like a man who knows that he's safe, which makes the situation quite worrying in my opinion. I don't think we'll go down, but I think it'll be closer than what we would want it to be. I feel like the board won't sack him due to not wanting to admit failure with the appointment. I'm wondering what your thoughts would be. I think, to be honest, I'll answer that one to begin with. Possibly, because I don't think we don't sack managers mid-season, and I think even with the Hippier one, we really refused to sack him, didn't we? Until they got to it. I guess in the modern world as well, for someone like Fabian to be feeling comfortable, most managers aren't going to walk now because they don't get their payouts anyway. So whether it's a Brighton team or whether it's a Tottenham side, like they know, wait till you get sacked, you might as well get sacked because then you get your money. And that is kind of the harsh business way of looking at football, I suppose.
I think like Potter got 12 million quid from Chelsea for getting sacked, and he was there 6 months, 8 months. So I see why they don't want to walk. But I agree. I think the board don't want to admit they made a mistake, and they very rarely do with like managerial appointments. So everyone can see this just isn't working. So I think, he won't get sacked, but parting company in the summer or for the next season probably makes sense for everyone.
Yeah, I agree. We've got a long one here from Grayson Anderson. Another one from all over the other side of the world. We've got one from Chicago. He says, I live in Chicago and I've been a fan of the Albion for many years. I'm 18 now and I haven't missed a match in a long time. I've been caught on many occasions watching the games in class or skipping school to catch midweek match days. I download apps on my TV to work, at work to watch during my match day shifts as well. A good chunk of my wages go to the Albion and I pay for all the streaming services you need to watch them here. Well recovered. I own every Premier League kit they've ever worn. A lot of autographed cards. I've even sent Mitoma, Baleba, Hinchwood rookie cards to PSA and got them graded. Love that. Last summer I would be awake at the absurd times to watch them play in Japan. Blah blah. I even made a troll account on Twitter. I wake up at 6 a.m. to watch 7-0 game from start to finish. And I'm being honest, any game recently has been more painful than that 7-0 game. This team is playing the boring brand of football and seems to be regressing every week. Losing Gruder was the last straw, in my opinion. I was stoked when we signed him, and I thought he was next big thing.
As did I.
The talent is undeniable. Look at his recent match at RB Leipzig, but there seems to be an issue in the locker room or the changing room. I'm tired of the lack of accountability from the club's higher-ups and Hurts himself. Not even joking, you can make a bingo card for what he's going to say during the press conference. Higher-ups reportedly aren't concerned at all. It seems like an issue that won't fix itself. I think this is the first time I've ever not been excited to watch this team play, and that's pretty much where I'm at right now.
Yeah, it's funny that fans that go to the games, fans that watch telly in England, fans that watch telly around the world and in America, everyone's got the same opinion that we're regressing, we're boring to watch, and something needs to change. So we can't all be wrong, can we?
Yeah. Well, yeah, that's it, isn't it? It's like there's only so much sort of things. And obviously these people are sending these messages in to try and get their voices heard as well. So that's why I thought it'd be a good opportunity to do this. I'm just going to have a look if there's any other voice messages. Obviously, most of these are messages that I've got to read out. Okay, we got one. Luca actually sent one last week. So I'll do Luca again. Just get a couple more of these in.
Hi, Ryan. Liverpool were the much better side yesterday, obviously, by the 3 goals they scored on us. But you can tell Van Hecker being back and everything like that, as, Mitoma played when he came on. He looked like he wanted to run. And it was just, better. But I don't know, it's just, there's something going on. I don't know if it's Bloom wanting to, can't admit that he's wrong and he won't sack HURZELER because he needs to get rid of him. And I think we all know that now. What do you think should happen? Do you reckon he should go? Like, I know you would, I know you said last time on the podcast, you said that HURZELER, deserves a little more time, but when does that time run out? Thank you, mate.
To be fair, I actually don't think I said that.
I think that was me. I said give him to the cup game.
Yeah.
And if we're out of the cup, then do it, which is now.
So how's that question to you, actually, maybe more than me?
I think I said there's a 7-day gap between the next game, so it is a good time to do it, but we all know it's not going to happen, so I don't know why I'm saying it. So, but yeah, just we need the refresh. Like I said on Twitter, I don't know if I'm envious of the manager merry-go round, or I'm actually happy that we have got a bit of stability and calmness about the situation. But yeah, I'm not too calm. And
Yeah.
I said, like,
I think the calmness would help if you made the right decision last time. I think that's kind of it's just knocked the faith a little bit in the decision making as opposed to anything else. I think that's been my issue. It's like, it's not so much about now sacking him, it's about who you get in next. And are you going to make the right decision again? Or are you going to bring in someone that's, you know, a yes man, so to speak, and not someone that's going to push the boat and want to get you into that next stage? Because as we said before, at the end of the day, the winners are the Mavericks. They're the one that are going to try and pull you out of the mud. And, you know, unfortunately, I just don't think that is Fabian at all. Sorry, I didn't put a name on that last one, did I? That was Luca. We've got another one here, and I apologise, he doesn't have a full name on there. It's just K.
Okay, if we're being realistic, HURZELER's not getting sacked anytime soon. We're losing against Palace, that's one bad loss. Then you're losing against Liverpool and Aston Villa, which are two very good teams at the moment. Obviously, the results are not going to impact what's going to happen to the manager due to the teams that we played and one annoying loss, which was just 1-0. And that was just one bad game. So I reckon HURZELER will be staying for a very long time.
Maybe the end of the season, I think.
Yeah, I think maybe he hasn't pulled the triggers because he doesn't know who he wants next. And to make that right decision, to get the next person... he's right, like Villa and Liverpool, nobody really expected anything, didn't we? So, like Brentford again, away, I'm not really expecting anything. Forest, we have to get something. Arsenal, we're not getting anything. Sunderland away, we're not getting anything. Liverpool at home, we're probably not getting anything. And then we got the two huge runs with Burnley and Tottenham away. And
who would have thought Tottenham and Brighton would have been a relegation scrap?
Hopefully, if they are 2 wins, and that's enough to stay up, and then the rest of the season... we can
I saw it might be one of the highest points totals of relegation battles ever.
I think like last year you only needed about 26 to stay up, and now you probably will need 38, 40. So
we get one more in. This is from Tilly. I think sorry, it was on. There we go.
It's been a tough week. I think in regards to Villa, we looked a lot better. We did threaten, but ultimately we left the game with no points because we conceded another late, avoidable goal. Like Fulham, like Everton. And then going into Liverpool, it was always going to be a tough task. But I do really feel like we've lost the ability to really take it to top teams and compete. I think the goal from quality was so clear to see on the weekend. And alarm bells have been ringing all season about how poor we are to watch. And while that does come down to the manager, the recruitment needs to be better as well. Starting with 2 teenagers in your front line is never going to end well. And we sleepwalked into a relegation battle and left ourselves in a position where Forest at home, Burnley away, Leeds away are 3 huge games. And things do need to change, but it's worrying because it's hard to see how they will.
Squad planning again, isn't it? The people who doing that.
And she said like competing against the big 6. That used to be our way of getting out of not getting results against the teams at the bottom, and now we're not doing either, and we're just not even competing against the teams against the bottom. So that's why we're in this mess. And like she's absolutely right. What she's saying, and like as we pointed out, those games against Leeds, Burnley, Tottenham, they're all huge now, and we can't just target those 3 games to get points. We need to get them elsewhere. Like you'd hope for a draw against Arsenal maybe, and things like that, where we did it at Man City away, which no one expected the result. So we can do it, but again, because it's so boring to watch, you just don't think we're going to do it.
I think that's the thing. Without getting these too repetitive, the big thing here, as you say, was the big 6 thing, and I think that's been our biggest issue this season. Is probably why it's reflected so bad on the points tally. Because I think, was it last season, our record against the bottom 6 was horrendous, wasn't it? Like we really had minimal amount of points, and I think we had almost maximum points from big 6 sides. I think we'd beaten nearly all of them last season, and obviously we beat Man City earlier in the season, thanks to Brian Gruder, which is mad. But I don't think that's probably going to change at this point. How many have we got of the big ones left? I mean, I'm not including Tottenham in the big 6 anymore.
Arsenal, Liverpool, Chelsea, Man United, if they're still the big 6. So.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
then Newcastle, were they in it?
I guess you'd
Yeah.
probably put Newcastle as bigger than being Tottenham
Yeah.
now, because Tottenham,
Yeah.
they're potentially going 2 years from two, going into the near relegation battle.
Yeah.
For me, that's not a big six side.
No.
But yeah, Newcastle, 100%. So obviously we tend to do all right against Newcastle. Villa, you could throw into that hat as well. But the teams left, I think it will be a struggle. And obviously Man United have turned it all around. Arsenal are looking very, very good and hard to beat. I think we've done City now both times, haven't we? And yeah, Liverpool's obviously around the corner. So yeah, we saw what they did to us last time out. Yeah, it's hard to think about anything else. But I think everyone's kind of summed it up well. And I think that's kind of the reason why I wanted to bring them out. So I missed some of them. There is a lot more on there.
I said everyone's got the same opinion.
That's what I'm trying to get at. Like more often than not, I mean, unless I've missed a couple of messages there again in which it's not a chosen thing, I have just randomly clicked on them there. More often than not, people are coming to the similar decision. And by that logic, for me, it's like, I saw one other person did say on that request is stop telling people how to feel, not aimed at you, obviously, in brackets. And I think that's why I wanted to give this opportunity for people to not have to worry about what they feel, and they can put it on there, and whether they're right or wrong, we'll still talk about it in a bit more of a respectful manner, rather than sort of just shutting off people's opinions because it's not quite the way that we wanted them to say it.
Yeah, I said like that was a good mix of people from England, from abroad, people that go to games, people that watch it on telly, legal streams and stuff. So
they were legal. You emphasised that.
It's a good mix of people to get an opinion from, and we've all come up with the same opinion.
Okay, final bit. What do you think, prediction wise, for Brentford and also just this whole relegation chat? Do you think a defeat is enough for Brighton to pull the trigger on Fabian HURZELER, or do you think it will go to the Forest game?
I think the Forest game, it could get down to like 2 or 3 point gap, couldn't it? So I think for like Brentford, no one's really expecting anything. They're on fire. I know like Bloom wants to win that more than probably any other game, so that might be a way he would pull the trigger, but I don't think he will. If we lose to Forest as well, that is a proper.
Surely we don't. But this is the thing, right? Then what if we win that game? That's going to annoy me, because I'll almost be irritated that we won that game, because we will have lost the Brentford games and all these games that mean something. And then we beat Forest. It's like, well, how's that enough to justify someone's job? I don't get that. Surely it's done on a whole season analysis. It's done on how he's done since he's been here. It's done on the player progression by player. It's done on the chances we create week in, week out, and the value of performance that we show week in, week out. Is almost none of those exist right now, and they haven't done really. We've just been quite lucky to get away with it, and for that to change on a result by result basis drives me mad. But here we are. We'll see what happens. For me, as I say, I'll do it now. It's not going to happen, so I've got to get out there in my mind. There are managers available now. Obviously, since we last filmed, Thomas Frank's been sacked, De Zerbi's been sacked. There's so many different managers out there right now, and the people to say that the manager market is zero is actually just completely wrong. Like, you just literally look at half the managers, and if you want to be competing in the Premier League, there are other managers abroad that you can, sounds terrible, but poach. But we'll see what happens. Roll on Brentford, I guess. The smallest away end, the smallest stadium, apart from Bournemouth, and we'll see what happens, won't we?
Must-win games coming up, and hopefully we can have something more positive to talk about after them.
Yeah. Thanks for watching. Make sure you come to Caxton. Talk about Brighton. Get a drink in here or something. You don't have to drink, actually. And get some food as well. Food's pretty good. But you got on food at the minute. Pizzas, isn't it?
Pizzas, burgers, fish and chips, pies, all the pub classics.
Yeah. Get one of them. We'll see you soon, and goodbye. Thank you.